An offer's been accepted and now you're in escrow. So what happens now? Keep watching for a step-by-step guide on the timeline of an escrow. Hi, my name is Tyrese Schaefer, and today we're going to walk through the escrow process. There are a lot of steps to take, but with the help of your agent, the escrow officer, and lots of others, hopefully it'll be a smooth process. Keep in mind while you're watching this video that escrow timelines can vary a lot, from anywhere to 7 days to over a month, so yours might look a little bit different than the timeline we discussed today. And because of this, we're going to be basing today's video off of a 30-day escrow, and we're going to go week by week to tell you what you should do at each point. During the very first week, you'll obviously be opening the escrow. Your agent or the agent on the other side are going to provide escrow with a copy of the purchase contract and any counteroffers that were made. And if you're the seller, your agent is also going to provide a copy of the listing agreement to the escrow officer. After this, the buyer is going to deposit their earnest money into the escrow account. By default in California, this is going to take place within 3 days of the contract being accepted, but this timeline is a negotiable point when you're making the purchase contract, so the amount of time that the buyer has to deposit their earnest money might be a little different for your transaction. After that, you'll want to make sure that you get a pre-qualification or a pre-approval from a lender if you haven't done that already. During this time, escrow will also open a title order, request the CC&Rs, and get the escrow instructions ready for signature by both the seller and the buyer. And these instructions should be signed by both the seller and the buyer as soon as possible so that the escrow officer can proceed with the escrow. All reports for this escrow period should also be ordered during this first week if they haven't been already. This can include the preliminary title report and a natural hazard report, as well as any physical or termite inspections that the buyer is going to be getting done. And once the inspections are actually completed, the buyer is going to get a report from the inspector, and they should review that with their agent. If there are any suggested repairs by the inspector, the buyer can request that the seller complete those repairs before closing, and the seller can either accept or deny that request. This process is like a second round of negotiations, so your agent will be a big help here if any repairs need to be made. Moving on to the second week of escrow. The buyer's agent should be checking in with the lender to make sure that the loan processing is going smoothly and that the appraisal has been ordered. This appraisal is meant to protect the lender's interest in the property, and it can affect the buyer's ability to purchase the property if the appraisal comes in lower than the agreed upon purchase price. If this is the case, there are a few options for the buyer. First, you can negotiate with the seller to lower the agreed upon purchase price. Second, you can either provide additional information to your appraiser to get the value increased, or you can get a second appraisal. Or thirdly, if you have the cash to do so, you can increase your down payment and cover the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. If none of these are possible, the buyer can cancel the deal if their appraisal contingency is still in place. But ideally, the appraisal will come in at or above the purchase price and we can move on with the transaction smoothly. At this point, the title report and CC&Rs, as well as other seller disclosures, should have been delivered to the buyer and their agent. These documents will give you detailed information about the property, such as any liens against it or any restrictions on the title. The buyer will review these documents with their agent and make sure that everything's okay in them, and if it is, they'll sign off on it and remove any of the applicable contingencies. And lastly, any reports, including those from inspections, should be forwarded to the escrow officer if they haven't been already. Once you get into the third week of escrow, a lot of what you're going to be doing is just making sure that the process is going smoothly. You and your agent are going to want to check in with the escrow officer and see what outstanding items they still need from you. This can include receipts for reports, insurance information for the buyer, and the statement of information. This statement of information is really important for you to fill out, whether you're a seller or a buyer, because it helps escrow identify you and make sure that you don't have any liens in your name. And if someone with the same name does have any liens or judgments against them, this form can help escrow confirm that you're not the person with those debts. At this time, also check on the loan approval and see when you'll be able to get the closing documents ordered for you to sign. You'll also want to make sure that any negotiated repairs or termite work has been completed. If you're the seller, you have the option to either pay for these services directly or pay for them through escrow. If you'll be paying through escrow, make sure that you submit approval for them to do so. The home warranty plan should be ordered during this week as well. This should be done by the agent requesting these services, and all coverage details should have been put in the purchase contract as well as who's going to be paying for this coverage. And lastly, any contingencies should be removed during this week if the buyer's contingency periods are ending. The default for most of the contingency periods in California is 17 days, but these contingency periods can vary greatly depending on how they were negotiated in the purchase contract. So speak with your agent directly about when your contingencies should be removed when it comes to your transaction. Now that all of the hard work is out of the way, it's time to finalize all the paperwork. Loan documents should be ordered at this time, and the buyer will sign them prior to closing. Your agent should also check in with escrow again to make sure that there are no more outstanding items left to complete. Any remaining documents will be sent to the lender or the title company, and escrow is going to coordinate with the lender to make sure your loan is getting funded. And once you do that, your loan's going to get funded, your documents are going to get recorded, and escrow is going to close. Thank you for watching this video, and if you found it helpful, please hit the like button. I'd also appreciate you subscribing if you're interested in getting any more real estate content. As always, if you have any further questions, reach out to me through Instagram or email. They're both linked down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.